You and Fat Joe, what's going on between both of y'all? I know he made some comments about FBAs, and I know he made a comment about how you was the wackest one in Brand Nubian, but I mean, what's going on between both of y'all, man?
I mean, first of all, his comment about FBA is kind of crazy because FBA is the one that put him where he is today. So you have to understand that it wasn't the Puerto Rican community or any other community that embraced Fat Joe. Fat Joe came up in DITC, which consists of mainly foundational Black Americans, um, you know, and he was the only Puerto Rican member in the group. Um, so it's kind of ironic for him to attack foundational Black Americans with his rhetoric. He sat there, and as a white Puerto Rican, he sat there and used the word nigga more than niggas used the word nigga. In a room full of niggas, and not a nigga said nothing. They just let him nigga it up. And Math Hoffa and them is getting a little heat for that right now, too. But I think it was uncalled for. First of all, it needs to be said that foundational Black Americans are not the foundational Black authority, as he said, is not an organization. It's a lineage. Either you're part of it or you're not, by lineage, okay? Where your ancestry takes you. So, there's about 48 million people that would be considered foundational Black Americans, and he's disrespecting all of them. There is no leader to foundational Black Americans. Tariq Nasheed is not the leader of foundational Black Americans. It has no leader. Again, it's a lineage. There is no organization called foundational Black Americans. It's just what you are. So those are just to erase some falsities right there. It's not about being Black radicals or not liking people that don't look like them or, who are not American. It's about honoring and preserving the things that foundational Black Americans have done. And many times people come in on the backs of what we have done as far as the civil rights struggle. These people flee their countries and then come here on the backs of what we do, but with a subconscious disdain for us. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them will work to undermine us. And those are the ones we call tethers, okay? And so when somebody who has benefited from the foundational Black American community, as far as your whole lifestyle comes from us, like you're famous because we gave you the thumbs up. I've said this before, Black people decide who sits at the cool table. And if we didn't want Fat Joe to sit at the cool table back then, he wouldn't have sat there. It wouldn't have mattered how much money you got and all of that. We decide. But since you came in with some people that we loved and respect, shout out to Lord Finesse, Showbiz, Diamond D, rest in peace, Big L, OC. These are people that gave you the cosign. So we was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? But, they say get a person mad and you'll see how they really feel about you, So when he was in there talking about broke ass niggas and all of that, like, let's be clear, he wasn't saying niggas as a term of endearment. Like, he was angry in that moment. So to be saying niggas is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. And what I'll also say is, you know, it's kind of tricky to call people a black radical group and all this type of shit. Like that's almost trying to like bring heat on people. You see what I'm saying? Because you got politicians and all out here that make laws and against that. They recently passed a law, something about black radical groups. And now to throw that out there was kind of, yeah, that was kind of crazy. Oh, and also what I wanted to address, right? Before we get to the part where he's talking about me, when he said, whoever these broke niggas is, right? All of this shit about, yo, your niggas is broken. Like, that's the new racism. Okay? Like, classism and talk about niggas is broke. Like, the last I checked, Puerto Ricans in the Bronx is broke too. So what are we talking about here? Like, what's all of this taking on the oppressor's disdain for people that don't have money? Regular, everyday, working class people. And then you want to talk about racism, like people's being racist or discriminatory against you, yet you the first one to talk about these broke niggas. And a bunch of people do that. And to me, it just reeks of insecurity. It just reeks of, you know, because if you didn't have money, if you didn't have these things, would you really have, you know, all the people around you supporting you? Would you really have loyalty like that as a man? If people didn't think that they can get something from you? If you wasn't that guy for the longest time? Is that how you even got on in the first? Oh, let Joe in. He, you know, you got money, his older brother, you know, he got paper. Like, I'm just saying, if that wasn't there, there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of things that wouldn't have manifested, okay? And I think this was a good example of how money creates a certain form of arrogance, where you have a lack of self-awareness as to who you are and who you really stand for inside this industry. Like, he thought that because he had more money than me and platinum records, that somehow he was more influential than me. And that he was a bigger, you know, that he meant more to the hip hop culture. And he found a rude awakening by saying that nut ass shit that he said. Like, to say Lord Jamar is a Looney Tunes and yeah, I was the wackest one out of Brand Nubian. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. To say that I'm the wackest one in Brand Nubian is like saying Clyde Drexler was the wackest one on the Dream Team. Or pick any one of them on the Dream Team. There is no whack one in Brand Nubian. Like, Brand Nubian is a dream team, is an all-star team. But now when you say something like that, right, you open yourself up for criticism. And as a person who don't even write their own music, who don't even write their own raps, who is in a crew of phenomenal rappers, dare I say you, sir, were the wackest one in the crew. Let's be clear. You, sir, was the wackest one in Terror Squad. Like, everybody in Terror Squad is better than Fat Joe. Like, let's be clear. So to say that about me was crazy. And to me, it felt like he was trying to assassinate my character, to say he was a legend. First of all, you see my, again, hip-hop legend hat on. You can zoom in. Yeah, there you go. Um, and to try to think that you could demote me is crazy. Is diabolical. Like, if you don't write your own lyrics, I'm sorry, sir, you don't have the qualifications to think you could demote me because you're upset with me. Because you're upset with me. And it's like, why are you really upset? See, I don't know if you watched the whole video, but towards the end of the video, he starts talking about people he's paid for their funeral and all this type of shit. And for the first time, like, I've heard the term Cap Joe. I've heard the term that he lies about a lot of things. And I thought it was funny. I saw, a video. He said he robbed 70 people of their coats or whatever, you know. But this was the first time that I'm watching him and I'm like, yo, this dude is actually lying on me to try to justify what he did. So here's what he tells Math Hoffa and them. He tells them that he stepped to me because I was, quote unquote, talking crazy, even though he didn't say what the talking crazy was. And I'm going to tell you what it was. He said he stepped to me because I was talking crazy. And I said I would chill. But then I kept on. I continued on. And so, it's my abuse is why he came at me like that. All right. First of all, let me put this in true perspective, not on no making shit up to try to, like, you know what I mean? Mold it to my advantage. This is the word is born to the Father on my seeds, what really happened. I got a FaceTime from a mutual friend of ours who I was in contact with at that time very regularly. So I'm thinking nothing of it. When I pick up the FaceTime, he's got Fat Joe in on the FaceTime. Fat Joe hits me up and is upset that I talked about on my show, that I talked about when he wore the moon boots, those Yeezy moon boots. You remember those ugly ass moon boots?
Yeah, I remember them.
He had a pink Celine hoodie with this tan jacket on that wasn't fitting well, with these moon boots on, and the internet roasted him. The internet roasted him. I saw a video where he was like, yo, you should have saw the meme that such and such put up of me. He had me inside the boot. He was laughing at it. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's fair game. Like, you know what I mean? So I talked about it. I didn't go crazy on him, but I was like, yo, we don't need to be wearing past a certain age. Like, we can't try to wear all the things that we think young kids is wearing, whether they think it's fly or not, whether it costs a lot of money. Like, that looked crazy. It looked crazy on him. It would have looked crazy on me. It would have looked crazy on anybody. I think even on a young person, but maybe a young person could have pulled it off. But he hit me up like, yo, chill, bro. Like, yo, I wouldn't do that to you. Like, and I'm like, all right, maybe he's right. You know what I mean? I've known this dude for a while. We've been, you know what I mean? We've had a good rapport. It's not like we were friends calling each other, but we always had a great rapport when we saw each other. You know what I mean? Seen him out one night at a steakhouse in New York, and I didn't realize I needed reservations, and he's going in there with his family, and he ends up, walking me in there and all of that type of shit. Some cool shit. So that's why this is like almost shocking and disappointing to me. So that's the only time he said anything to me about, yo, chill, bro. And I said, you know what, you right. And I chilled. I never talked about Fat Joe's fashion after that. But the next time that I talked about Fat Joe was in regards when he said that hip hop was 50-50 black and Puerto Rican. That had nothing to do with his fashion or anything personal about him. But I had to say, yo, that's not true. And at some point, I offered not just Fat Joe, I offered KRS-One, Fat Joe, my brother Busta Bus. I offered Crazy Legs. Who else? Pete Rock. I offered all of these guys to come to the table and let's have a debate about the origins of hip hop. I'll bring my old school dudes from back then that's saying it was this. You bring the people that you claim to have. And we'll show you through what we've been saying that the DNA of hip hop shows that there is no other influence except foundational Black American youth influence. And this whole idea of a melting pot is ridiculous. And to act like proximity, influenced everybody is crazy. There was Italians in the Bronx. There was Jewish people in the Bronx. They had nothing to do with hip hop. They didn't influence hip hop. Like, other than we went to Jew Man's to buy some, gear and like that, get your Pumas dyed and like that. That was like a custom place to go on Simpson or whatever in the Bronx. But that's it. So, yeah, I think this whole thing about people having money and, the corporate entities give you these looks. He's been hosting these, award shows. And I think he thought that he was bigger to the culture than I was. And he thought he was going to be able to cancel me by saying these things. See, now people are throwing, he'll say anything for attention. The earth is flat, this and that. Listen, that's another thing. Like, if you want to debate me, don't try to just throw that out there like I'm just wilding out and I'm just saying something. Trust me, this is something that I've studied. And if I wasn't 1,000% sure of what I'm talking about, I would have never brought it up. But again, people take what they learned in 3rd grade and believe that they know more than what they know. And they think that they can just laugh it off. But if it's something that you really research, you'll find that there's a lot more to what I'm talking about in that subject. So again, Fat Joe, whatever you want to debate me in, you know what I mean? You want to debate me about the origins of hip hop, we can do that. You want to debate me about flat earth, we can do that. If you want to put out music and battle albums with a new album, because I know you got a new album out, and I actually got an album that I'm getting ready to put out soon, and I'm telling you that I make better music than Fat Joe right now, and I produce and write all my own So, that's the type of that I'm ready to do. Now, motherfuckers want to act all tough and act all street and want to be scary. Motherfucker, I'm 56 years old. He's 55. Like, let's knock all that bullshit off, trying to act all, because I think he felt so arrogant that he felt like I shouldn't have even mentioned his name. That I shouldn't have mentioned his name at all. I think people feel like, how dare this how dare this with the ER mention my name? I'm Fat Joe. Well, I'm Lord Jamar. And how dare you mention my name in a negative way, thinking that you can demote me in some sort of fashion? That's ridiculous. You don't have the authority to do that, sir. This is our culture. Now you've lightweight canceled yourself. You've canceled yourself with these remarks against FBA and Lord Jamar. You tried to throw the whack juice and it splattered back in your face. And it's crazy. It's crazy. All because what? All because I'm standing up for what's true and I'm not going along to get along. I'm not just going to compromise and be like, oh, all right, okay. No. It was totally 100% foundational Black American youth influence. Whether people's parents was from somewhere else didn't matter. When they came outside and they came in hip hop circles, they had to act and do as foundational Black Americans were doing. Nobody has any slang from other cultures that we put into this shit. The fact that we call it rap is a foundational Black American slang. This nonsense about sound systems that Jamaicans brought to that toasting, that's not true. It's not true. These are myths. He's talking about these myths. No, those are the myths. The myths that breakdancing, that Puerto Ricans started breakdancing, they didn't. Black people started breakdancing. They picked it up after we put it down, and that's the time when the cameras came. So that's why they're associated with breakdancing. But they didn't create it. They didn't add any extra flavor to it that was Spanish that we weren't already doing. We created breakdance. You just helped it advance. Now, do the FBA. It's Team Black. It's Team Black. Team Black. It's Team Black. Yeah, man. Listen, man. I don't know why it hurts people's hearts so. Like, we're saying that y'all was the first ones, right? Y'all was the first ones to get down with our and love it and appreciate it and want to help it proliferate. And we're saying thank you for that. In any other genre, to be the first is great. Jackie Robinson was the first black dude in the major leagues, right? That was a big thing, right? They act like that's a big thing. Obama's the first black president, so-called, they say. That was supposed to be a big thing, right? You wanted your girl to be the first woman president. That was supposed to be a big thing. So why is it not a big thing when y'all is the first to participate in hip hop? Because I believe subconsciously you look down upon black people. You've dedicated your life to something that your parents told you not to fuck with. Don't do that, that Moreno, that Cocolo music, that style. Like, what are you doing? Like, knock it off. Like, and I think they need to justify their dedication to this and act like, nah, ma, like, listen, we created this too. Like, I'm not doing a Nick thing. I'm doing what I'm doing is Puerto Rican too. That's what they have to justify to their people. But it's like, bro, everything that you know about hip hop, we had to show you. And every hit that Fat Joe really has, he had to pull in a foundational black American to help him out. Because he ain't got no hits by himself like that. He's not that type of guy. And if he had to rely on the Puerto Rican community to keep up his life, I want to see it happen. I really want to see it happen. I want to see the Puerto Rican community now stream all his records, invite him to all the award shows and all that, because, I have a funny feeling that when he gets on stage in front of a lot of foundational black Americans, he's going to get booed right off the stage. I'm just saying. You can't, and that's almost that Democratic attitude. Like, the Democrats thought that we should just vote for them just because. You know what I mean? Like, we should vote for them just because. And I think he believes we should rock with him just because. You know what I mean? Here's a fun fact that a lot of people don't know. And I wanted to bring this up on your show. And this is the first time that I think I've said this out loud. And this is not one of these Cap stories again. This is not one of these Cap Joe stories. This is real shit. I had a small part in helping Big Pun get signed up at Loud. And I bet you Fat Joe doesn't even know this. So at the time that Pun's album, well, not what Pun's album, but Pun's, I guess, demo was being shopped, and Loud was considering signing them, I was shopping Dead Prez at the same time up at Loud. So we used to go up at Loud a lot, and you can ask Maddie C and motherfucking Scott Free, who were the engineers, and Sean C, who used to be up there. I mean, not the engineers, the A&Rs. They all was up there. And there was this room that they used to play music in. So these dudes is like, yo, I want to play some shit for you. Yo, he plays Big Pun, You Ain't a Killer. You know what I mean? And they like, what you think of that? Yo, that shit is fire, son. Fire. You know what I mean? And I think they played one more joint. I said, yo, definite thumbs up. Like, you know what I mean? So all I'm saying is he wasn't signed yet. You know what I mean? My guys ended up getting signed, and he ended up getting signed. They're asking a dude who is considered a hip-hop legend, what did he think of this guy right here? And I gave dudes the thumbs up. So I know all of that was an avalanche. Like, yo, Maddie said he put him there. Yo, Lord Jamar even said he loved, like, you know what I mean? I know all of that helped. Not that I shopped him or did any kind of thing like that, but I definitely gave him a thumbs up to the A&R dudes when they asked me before he was signed. So that's my little Big Pun story. And shout out to Big Pun, who, you know, definitely is the greatest Puerto Rican rapper who, you know, who ever did it to ever make records. But I'm sure he'll tell you that he even patented his style off a foundational Black American by the name of Kool G Rap. So, again, that's what we do. We've created everything. I don't know why this is even, we've created blues, we created jazz, we created country, we created rock. Why is this even a debate? Why is this even a thing? If y'all help create hip hop, why isn't it not sprung up on the island of Puerto Rico? Why isn't there breakdancing all over Puerto Rico? Why when you go there, they play that Bad Bunny type of, you know, like, come on, man. If you, foundational Black Americans have more probably responsibility for some of those other musics. And we're not even trying to claim that, like salsa and reggae and all. Like, we have influence on that too. And we're not trying to claim that. So let us have something. You know what I mean? Let us have something to ourselves, man. And stop trying to hijack something that's not yours. Because if I was trying to steal from you, you would have a problem with it. You wouldn't feel like you were being divisive for calling it out. It's not divisive for calling it out when somebody's trying to take credit for something they don't deserve. And it's just that simple. Again, thank you for your contributions. But if it was ever 50-50, where are all the Puerto Ricans now in hip hop? You can barely name 5 Puerto Ricans that were big in hip hop. What, Pun, Fat Joe, Cardi B, Pitbull. Who else we naming? Then I said big. Now we're going to start naming just people that are Puerto Rican. Shout out to the Beat Nuts. You know what I mean? Shout out to the early, Whip a Whip, Ruby D. That's still like 7 people. What? Chino XL? That's 8. I'm struggling right now to get 10 people. I'm struggling. Damn, my man, Curious George. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to get to 10. You see what I'm saying? How come foundational Black American youth just kept doing hip hop and not stuck on one type of hip hop dance, break dancing? We kept doing millions of dances. We making dances to this day. We didn't stop with just break dancing. People are trying to say I'm saying break dance is not an element of hip hop. No, I didn't say that. I said it's not a key element. It's hip hop dance is an element of hip hop, and inside hip hop dance exists break dancing. But there's many different dances inside hip hop. Stop singling out break dancing. And the reason you're doing that is because you want to give the illusion that somehow Puerto Ricans started it, and they didn't. You talk about graffiti because you want to give the illusion that somehow they started graffiti. They didn't. And when hip hop came, it was hip hop aesthetics, foundational Black American youth aesthetics that started to transform graffiti. And the images that you started to see. They started to reflect hip hop.
And you made a comment earlier. I want you to speak more on that, man. You said Fat Joe don't write?
No. My man King's son, peace to the God, he wrote Fat Joe's first You Gotta Flow Joe stuff on that first album. I know, I've heard that Pun wrote for him. I know Armageddon used to write for him. I think there's a dude named Rated X or something, or Infrared or something like that writes for him now, I believe. To try to criticize someone and think that you could belittle me and say that I was the wackest one, when we know that's not true. I know you were singing Don't Let It Go to Your Head. I heard you sing along the Battle of the Beats. It was 5 nights. Come on. Knock it off. So something petty, or maybe someone sent them at me. I don't know. It just don't make sense. But at the end, I just want to clarify that what he was saying at the end is not true. Nobody abused him. So he didn't like when I talked about the boots. And then after that, I guess he didn't like when I talked about Puerto Ricans, didn't create hip hop. And that I called him out. Maybe that's the abuse he's talking about. But that ain't abuse. I was trying to talk about it like men. Never did I attack him personally. I'm going to keep it a foul wow with you. He attacked me personally before this on my son's page on IG. When they was going at me, yeah, you've seen it. When they was going at me in the comments about, old girl, mad that I called her, the B word. He got in the comments, yeah, he went bad. He been a piece of shit. You see what I'm saying? And so, boom. So really, I'm the one that took abuse right there. I took abuse right there. I ain't get in the comments. I ain't say nothing. I just, you know what I mean? Took a punch to the face. Boom. Now you come at me again on a big platform like Mav Hoffa and try to boom me. Nah, B. Now I gotta fight back. So again, You want to debate me about this hip hop shit? You want to debate me about flat earth? You want to have a versus when it comes to new music? Right now, I guarantee you my album is better than your album. I guarantee you. Please don't play with me.
You personally, how do you feel about him using the N-word? Because he's been using it for a long time, man.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw Fat Joe, back in the days at this spot called Quando's, he used to wear like army fatigues and he used to wear a kufi. And I used to be like, I was like, yo, who's the white guy with the kufi? And then people's like, nah, he's not white. That's Fat Joe. He's he's Puerto Rican. I thought he was straight up white. So I say that to say, I think we accepted it when we felt like he was one of us. When we thought he thought of himself as one of us. Because he would be in certain interviews talking about, yo, I grew up thinking I was black and that. So I feel like, again, we gave him this pass, and again, this is what happens. People abuse their past. People abuse their past and start to feel like they have a certain authority and a certain entitlement to certain things in the culture. And I think he really got ahead of himself and he found out really, again, that hip hop, money and charts and all of that type of shit, that doesn't really matter. Like, that doesn't give you the respect that you think it does. You know what I mean? It's like I've made the type of music that has changed people's lives in a positive way. You know what I mean? I make music that inspires foundational Black Americans, okay? That gives you something that you can use in your everyday life and that people has carried on with them from the time we came into its inception. And like, damn, the shit you gave me 35 years ago helped me to this day, because we almost at 35 years. But then you have, music like what Fat Joe was putting out, which is like destructive to the Black community, talking about selling crack and, you know what I mean? Like, what are you even really doing? What are you talking about? How are you helping the people? How are you even helping your people? Like, I heard his new album and I don't hear anything inspiring on there for the Puerto Rican people. I don't hear a song on there that if I was Puerto Rican, I'd feel prideful about. I just hear him trying to get some hits and hoping he can get on the radio. And that ain't it. Everybody that heard that joint say that ain't it. And I say it too. So if he wanted to go against me musically, I suggest he start from scratch right now and come with something right now. Because I'm almost done with my I'm almost done with my Building 7 on the way. Matter of fact, I'm dropping a single called The Elephant that will be ready on New Year's Day. I mean, not New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. So yeah, maybe we could put the link in the description. Let people pre-save now or something, because yeah, it's ready for pre-save right now. And it addresses some things. It addresses some issues in the song. Yeah. It's not a diss track or anything like that, but it addresses issues. So y'all check that out. The Elephant.
And I've seen on your podcast, and I want you to go more into detail about it, but you made a comment about how you feel like that hate that Fat Joe had for Black people is deep rooted because he used to get picked on by Black people when he was a kid.
Well, this is something that I have heard. I don't know this to be factual, but I could see, if that were the case, why you'd have a certain disdain subconsciously for the people that used to fuck with you. Even if you got love for them in one aspect, you know, there's another aspect that's still like, oh, man, those the motherfuckers that used to fuck. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know, some people just feel like, man, I can't wait to shit on the world, man. When I get rich, I'm going to shit on everybody. Like, you know what I mean? And, you know, I don't know. I feel that kind of energy off of him, like, you know. But again, all this money, it doesn't shield you from who really controls this hip hop shit. And we're proving this again, like foundational Black Americans have always controlled it. I don't care if we're not controlling the business side. You know, they'll say, well, the white people are making the fucking the money and all that. Yeah. All right. But the same way the powers that be, like the mass media, they weren't able to just tell you who was going to be president this time, and we decided who was going to be the president. Is the same way you can't just tell us who we're going to rock with anymore. The industry just can't tell us who we fucking with. We're going to show you the power that we have as foundational Black Americans. And if you acting like you not fucking with us and you trying to get us canceled, we're going to show that we can actually get you canceled just off our energy, just off the energy that we put out there. Yeah, it was a bad move, man. I think it was an emotional move, and it was a bad move. Man, I'm just, you know, it's unfortunate that he chose that route. But again, if he did get bullied and all of that when he was young, I could see that being part of the motivation. Because again, I was trying to figure in my head, why would he come at me like this on a personal level? You know, is it because I've said stuff about Diddy and Diddy is his man? You know what I mean? It could be multiple things. Just, you know what I mean? That in his mind, yo, Lord Jamar's talking crazy. You know what I mean? But never did I talk crazy about him in any kind of personal way. And so for him to cross that line and attack me personally, and then to try to justify it at the end of the show with a lie, is not cool. That's not cool, and I'm not standing for it. And I'm just going to clear that up. And hopefully this is the last time we have to talk about this shit, for real. Because, you know, unlike what he thinks about me, I'm not here for, I'll say anything to try to go viral or for attention. Like, come on, man. I just say the real shit. I just say the truth, man. And if you think that's seeking for attention, you're sadly mistaken. You know what I mean? I've been getting attention all my life, bro. Like, I don't need to seek attention. Attention seeks me, okay? Just like, oh, and there's another thing I wanted to say before we get off the topic. 50 Cent said some wise shit about rich people don't seek out beefs. Like, if you're rich, right? You're a millionaire and all this, Fat Joe. You got platinum hits and all that. Brand Nubian never went gold or platinum, all right? But we still legends in this hip-hop game, right? Why does my opinion bother you so much? Why does what I say affect your life? Like, I'm just little old Lord Jamar, right? Like, you know, you got the cars and the money and the clothes and the, you know, I'm just Lord Jamar. If I'm a loony bin, why does it bother you? Why do you feel like you have to comment on it when no one's ever attacked you personally? I just find it funny that, you know, that I be on people's minds. You know what I mean? People that act like, oh, he's a nobody, he's an underling. Well, then why are you talking about me? If I'm such a nothing, why are you concerned about me? Eminem made raps about me. You know what I mean? Like, and he's a boy. He's he's the top white boy, man. Yeah. I'm when it comes to this intellectual game, I'm untouchable, and I'm not the one you want to come at. You know.